Good morning, everybody. I am Bart Winkler. Welcome to the Bart Winkler um, podcast, which is called Into the Winklerverse. I know that. Just wanted to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers for a few moments and the series that they had in New York against the Yankees, where the Yankees abused and used and just punished the Brewers in every single way. Even in a game where the Yankees were having errors and trying to let you into the game, the Brewers scored 9 runs on Saturday. That's a great output, but they gave up 20. That is not so good. For anybody that is a Yankees fan that will inevitably find somebody talking trash about your team, I did title the video, Yankees use should be illegal bats to smash past sweet Brewers, hoping that Yankees illegal bats gets picked up in the algorithm. The bats are legal. They're letting them use them. They're bigger. They're thicker. They're letting them use them. The Yankees probably beat the Brewers without these bats. I told a friend, if this is something you want to unveil, why are you doing it against the Brewers? Probably did not need to do that, but a good start to the season. If you got any Yankees in fantasy, I mean, that's tremendous. And also, I wish the Brewers would have thought of this. In fact, I wish anybody would have thought of this. These bats that are thicker in the middle look like wiffle ball bats. How have we played baseball for 200 years and nobody's come up with these sort of bats? So the Yankees game on Saturday, well, first of all, I mean, the whole season and series was a disaster. Not sure about season yet. Don't want to be the guy who gets swept and then, you think it's over. Game one, not a great sign. Freddie Peralta gives up early runs, but it was the first time that a catcher ever hit a leadoff home run in opening day history, and that was Austin Wells. Yankees got 2 home runs, another one in the second. They won 4-2. So not as painful. Freddie gave up some runs, then settled in. Jared Koenig, not a good outing from him, but okay, you live to see another day. Put that one behind you. They have Friday off. I think I said Friday. That was Thursday. So they have Friday off. And then Saturday, Nestor Cortez. We already saw Devin Williams get a little shaky on Thursday, as you knew that would happen. But Nestor Cortez in and has a terrible game. 2 innings, 6 hit, 8 earned runs. And then the next guy came in after that and did the same thing. The next guy, what's his name? I don't know. Connor Thomas. Who are these guys? Who's the guy throwing tomorrow? Where did these guys come from? Who's Chad Patrick? The Brewers are the first team to ever have create a player, guys from MLB The Show, on their actual roster. But in this game, the New York Yankees hit 9 home runs. They had 20 runs on 16 hits, including 3 home runs right off the bat on 3 straight pitches. Goldschmidt, Bellinger, and Judge, all MVP guys. So we had the game on, and I'm telling my kid, it's not like basketball. We watch a lot of basketball. He really loves basketball. We watch a lot of it. And so I turn on baseball, and I'm telling him there's not as many, seeing baseball, but I'm just re-explaining. There's not as many runs in this. There's not as many points. You don't get as much scoring. And then I was upstairs, and he goes, "Daddy, it's 1-0." And then seconds later, "Daddy, they scored again. Daddy," I go, what on earth is possibly happening? Well, what happened was the Yankees hit 3 home runs in a row and then hit 6 more and beat them very badly. So Nestor Cortez, even after the game, he wasn't available for interviews. He was back in the Yankees clubhouse. He's got Colton Wong disease. Wong was that way with the Cardinals. Either we're trading and picking up guys. I don't want anybody that just remember in high school or college, if you went to college and you would get there in the first week, it was talking about how great your high school was. You were in a new setting. Nobody cared, but that's what you talked about. That's what it feels like when we acquire these guys. Like they're not comfortable enough. They don't want to be here. I understand that you got traded and you were in the World Series, and you'd probably be a Yankee than a Brewer. If you're Nestor Cortez, you'd probably rather be a Yankee than a Brewer. But don't do that. Was he tipping pitches? Probably not, but probably not's not a good enough answer. We're brought to you by Happy Place Hemp. A lot needed over the weekend. Happy Place Hemp. The promo code is BART. They've got 25% off every order at their shop. Now, they're located in Muskego, right across from Maddie's, the edge of New Berlin and Muskego, and it's 25% off. So you could go in there and check it out. Ask Chris and Rob. That's where they make the stuff and then sell the stuff, and that's also where they ship everything out of. So if you can't get to the location, that's fine. That's why the internet was invented. You go to happyplacehemp.com, put in the promo code at checkout of BART, and you'll get 25% off every order, no matter how many times you use it. You don't have to use new emails. You don't have to do different addresses. You don't have to, hey, I'll send it to your house. I'll pick it. You don't have to do any sort of scammy thing. You enter the code and you get it on the Delta 8s and 9s and THC and the CBD and the CBN, all the different products that you're looking for. They have it, and we've got a code for you. So utilize that. Promo code is BART. Again, just a really awful weekend for the Milwaukee Brewers. The bat thing is going to be the story that gets talked about quite a bit. They kind of do look like bowling pins to a degree. That's what they were saying. At least Trevor McGill was saying that. So what it's called is a torpedo barrel. And some guy who was with the Yankees, now with the Marlins, changed where the barrel is. So it's thicker. It's baseball bats have been the thickest at the top, and now it's skinny, and then it gets thick in the, it's like a curvy person. Kind of hot. But it's this torpedo barrel, and the idea is increasing the number of barrels, get the barrel on the ball, and decrease misses. What they've said is your misses could be clips. So instead of missing, now you've clipped a ball. Your clips could be flares. Flares could be barrels, And if you're like, well, what's a good example? That 9 home runs in a game is pretty good. 15 home runs in a series, I believe it is. Most Brewers have given up in a 3-game series, is pretty good. AJ Hinch had talked about this, Tigers manager. There was a little bit of conversation around spring training. I don't understand it, the bat companies and stuff like that, but it's going to get plenty of attention now. Yeah, it is getting a lot of attention as other managers throughout the league are asking about it. Trevor McGill says, I think it's terrible. We'll see what the data says. I've never seen anything like it before. I feel like it's something used in slow pitch softball. It's genius. Put all the mass in one spot. It might be Bush League. It might not be. But it's the Yankees, so they'll let it slide. Miguel said they look like bowling pins. They figured out a way to make it work. Logistically or logically, it makes a lot of sense. How can I not want to look into it more? Those are the words of Reese Hoskins, who either said or really did order some. And so I think that if these really work the way that we just saw them work, you're going to see them permeate throughout the league in no time. Again, I've got more questions on this. I don't understand how they're legal. I don't. And then at the same time, I don't understand why, if they're legal, they weren't made sooner. So why are they legal? There's a rule in the rule book, MLB Rule 3.02, if you must know. The bat shall be a smooth, round stick, not more than 2.61 inches in diameter at the thickest part, and not more than 42 inches in length. That bat should be one solid piece of wood. Experimental bats can't be used until the manufacturer has secured approval from Major League Baseball of his design and methods of manufacture. So essentially, they're just moving down where the barrel is. And it looks different, but it's definitely within the rule. I mean, they didn't make it any thicker. They just moved where the thick part was. So either you're going to see a lot more teams do this, or baseball's going to be like, all right, that's kind of sketch. But if you do that, these losses are still going to count. So it's just very weird. It's very weird. And what's going to be intriguing, because this is the story of baseball for the weekend. I mean, this is the story, is these Yankees bats. Not only are they different and new, but then when you mash that many home runs and have 9 in a game, I mean, that's going to be talked about even more. So this is definitely the story of the weekend. J Money on YouTube. LOL, how are they going to compete for the Central Division? You know, the Brewers have started seasons before where they've swept teams. They've started seasons before where they've been swept. I don't know what we'll look back on this series and think, come July or August. But for right now, the team doesn't seem that excitable. They've got a few different pieces. Now, I think everybody has just been so trained into talking about the Brewers and, well, they're predicted to win 78. They always win 86, sometimes 90, and they win the division. But eventually, you're getting predicted to win 78, 79 games because that's what you're viewed as, a 78, 79 win team. It is to the Brewers' credit what they've been able to do to fly past those expectations. But at some point, you are who you are. Now, am I going to... It's not even overreact. There's just a lot more... There's a lot less optimism after 3 games than there was coming into the season. That's just the case. And this is what we do all the time, and so I'm really trying to be cautious to it, but I don't know. I saw Grant tweet, is any part of this weekend been fun? This is the least likable Brewer team of my lifetime. The Brewers have always been fun, or there's been a young class of guys coming up, or they have expectations, or they're coming off, a finish that you can look forward to. Last year's finish was a mess. Then they trade Devin Williams. They let Willy Adames go, fan favorite. And what did they really do? Who did they add? Nestor Cortez is going to take a long time for that ERA to get right. The offense is just, the guys that you knew last year. But they do have Jackson Chourio and I think Christian Yelich and William Contreras. Those 3 guys alone. A lot of times the Brewers have all these well, if this guy can, or if this guy does well, these seem to be surefire things. Yelich has been an MVP. Chourio's, up and coming and has pretty decent MVP odds. I think 35-1. Contreras was the best hitting catcher in baseball last year. There are almost, and Yelich, you got to do a lot of work on Yelich here because coming back, often injured. But Chourio and Contreras alone should be and the lineup does lose a little bit, obviously, with Adames, and that might be, an understatement. But even the pitching staff, and now Savali might be hurt. I forgot the name of the guy they're throwing on the home opener. Terang, Chourio, Yelich, Contreras, Frelick, Bowers, Mitchell, Ortiz, Dunn. I mean, that's a lineup that's you could envision that being a really good lineup. And I think Sports Illustrated listed them as the 9th best lineup in baseball. So you can definitely see that. But I'm not sure. Oh, Ryan donating to the cause. That'll get a new one of these, Ryan. I appreciate that. I got to get a real microphone after 2 years of this. $5 says, does MLB want a home run derby every game? Pitchers are going to be too angry face emojis. Yeah. I think they do want that. I mean, they like that. They like that. And we like home runs. Hell, I talk about it all the time. Home runs brought me back into baseball. They went on strike in 94. I said, this sport sucks. Couldn't resist the home run chase. That seemed a little obnoxious. But again, Monday, it's going to be a leading story. I'll talk about it on my show. But the TV networks that are so normally wrapped up with, at this time of the year, any NFL draft stuff, and maybe there's a Brandon Ayuk story out there because he's due some money. Certainly the Final Four and the women's tournament. But the Yankees bats will be a story. And the Brewers are going to be featured naturally for that reason. So it does seem like usually like our teams are always at the center of like somebody else's story. Over the years, it kind of does feel like that. The first time cameras caught Kaepernick not participating was at a Packer preseason game or at a Packer game. I think it was preseason. Just we're always tangentially a part of somebody else's story, it seems like. So Brewers start 0-3. They've got the Royals coming up, and that will be in Milwaukee. So we're going to have the home opener. It's a 3-game set, and then the Reds for a 4-game series. So there's 7 chances to watch the Brewers at home. Weather is not going to be great on Monday, so roof will be closed, but it is opening day, or the home opener, I should say, and plenty of people are going to be out tailgating. I believe I will be there, and then I'm going to try to be there on Wednesday as well during the day. So if anybody's out there, give me a shout, and then, give me a free shot or a beer. Actually, I should cut back. I've been getting fat again. But yeah, and then they go to Colorado, they go to Arizona, so a West Coast trip, and then Detroit, the A's. And you can look up the schedule if you'd like. So I don't know. You hesitate to really go crazy, but I think there's a couple of things that you can say for sure. This was not 3 fun days of baseball. The Yankees bats is a thing. We got to get those bats. And the home runs, I think that the bats helped. And even like Thursday, it was short porch season to start the game. That's how the Brewers season started. But there's just now they could sweep the Royals 3-3. They could win 5 out of 7 games this week. You're 5-5. But when you get excited and look forward to something, and you don't just lose, you lose like that. It's a little demoralizing. Jake Bauers, though, 2 great innings on the mound. Maybe our best pitcher might need to be the guy that they are throwing on opening day. I say that facetiously, but also I do not. It is Elvin Rodriguez will be throwing. Elvin Rodriguez. Listen to the game on your local affiliates. Oh, that's one of those games they're going to air on Fox 6. That's kind of cool. That and a bunch of Tuesday games. So even if you don't get it, like if you don't get FanDuel Sports, you can still watch a bunch of games. Oh, J Money threw me $5. Thank you. Maybe what we'll do is we'll buy the Brewers these new bats. Wonder if Mark A would donate. No, Mark A, he knows what this podcast is. This podcast is not made to win awards. This podcast is not made to do great numbers. This podcast is made to provide a summer of entertainment and passion for you and your families, is what this podcast is here to do. That's the goal. That's the effort. And we don't put any more into it than we need to. Should I have gotten a new microphone a long time ago? Yeah. Should I have a better studio than, there's my basement? Sure. Should I have a chair here for someone instead of sitting next to the water thing? Oh, yeah. But I'm not playing to win. I'm just doing it the Brewer way. Absolutely. We'll be back with some episodes this week. Again, I'll have some content from the stadium. I'm going to 3 games this week. I'm going to the Cubs game on Friday. So it's going to be a week. Cubs and Padres, their home opener. I'll talk more about that later. Until then, hope you enjoyed whatever the games that you did. I spent a lot of time turning on the UFL action instead. Also bad, but I love it. Spring football, I'll always be a fan. Until then, thanks for stopping into the Winklerverse.